Seabreeze FM.
Hi, I'm radio announcer Gwen Redding from 91.9 FM WCLK, and I love listening to Stu and Victoria on Seabreeze.
Well, good morning, New Zealand. Nice to have your company this Friday morning. Time at 9 o'clock, top of the hour, and over in Washington, D.C., top of the hour of 5 o'clock. A nice day in New Zealand, a beautiful looking day. Let's hope the day stays like that, because after all, it is Friday the 13th. And over in Washington, they've got another day to go before they get to that. So all around the world, we are going to share it, aren't we, Vicky? Hello.
Hello. Yes, when you said it was Friday the 13th, I thought, well, we've got one more day here, excuse me, before we hit Friday the 13th. So everything is very calm and very good here. Although we are still having really, really bad weather here. It's been lots of rain and thunderstorms. And I know there in New Zealand, you sent me an article from the New Zealand Herald, and I saw a lot of trees down, a lot of flooding. So I'm glad to see that you're having better weather today, because you've had some crazy weather-related problems there with housing and floodings and streets the past couple of days.
Yeah, the whole country's been hammered, actually. It's been really hammered. And down the South Island, the farmers down there got hit real bad. Paddocks and paddocks and paddocks just totally underwater. What the hell they did with the stock, I don't know. They must have had a hell of a job getting stock out and, trying to feed them and everything. It's bad enough getting them off the wet paddocks, but you still got to feed them. So, they just can't take them down to the Burger King and say, feed my sheep.
And actually, they probably wouldn't like those burgers at Burger King anyway if they actually took them down there to eat. Yeah, you know what? I never thought about that even during times of severe weather. You're right. The animals, they still have to eat.
Yeah. Yep, still got to be fed. Yeah.
Yeah. What a mushy job that will be. I'm sure they have plenty of boots and gear to get out there and actually do that. So, yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, I hope everything is going to be well there. And again, I'm glad to see that you guys do have some decent weather. Again, for those of you that are joining us, welcome to International Connection, a news and entertainment program that Stu and I do weekly, where we try to bring you news from around the world. So we do have a lot of news to talk about today. The Iraqi government says it welcomes U.S. airstrikes against Islamic militants. On Wednesday, the government indicated a willingness for the U.S. military to conduct airstrikes against the radical militants. Several U.S. officials said Washington views the situation as extremely urgent and is looking to see what more support the U.S. can provide to the Iraqi government, in addition to weapons and vehicles it has already provided. This request comes after Islamic militants have attacked Iraq and other areas in that country. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department updated its travel warning to Iraq, saying terrorist activity and violence is at levels unseen since 2007. It has warned against all but essential travel to that country. Stu, I was looking at that story this morning, and just when I think that, internationally things will get quiet on the international scene, then like this story, there's another story that just seems to pop up, and they've just been in the news so much very lately when it comes to these sort of attacks around the world and on different countries. Well, Stu, we've got some new details about the 15-year-old Oregon student who shot and killed a fellow student and then turned the gun on himself. Authorities say Jar Paget got on the school bus for school like any other day, except he was carrying a rifle, a semi-automatic handgun, 9 loaded magazines capable of carrying hundreds of rounds, and a large knife. He wore a vest used to carry bullets and other items and sported a helmet in a camouflage design. He took the guns and ammunition from a secure area at his home. Emilio Hoffman, whom he shot and killed, was a rising soccer star, and he was 14 years old. Apparently, the two did not know each other. A teacher was also injured in that shooting. Stu, when I was researching that story, there again blew my mind the amount of gear that this kid took to that school: a rifle, a semi-automatic handgun, 9 loaded magazines capable of carrying hundreds of rounds, and a large knife. So actually, it sounds like from what he had, he certainly could have done way more damage than what happened.
And he took that all on the school bus.
Yes.
What the hell was wrong with the bus driver?
Yes. Well, it was concealed, I believe, inside a guitar case, so no one knew what was actually, inside. So, I guess in that sense, you can't blame the school bus driver because, he didn't walk on the bus and actually had all of this, hanging out where you could actually see it on him. It was all concealed.
Yeah, he wasn't Rainbow going to the office for the day, was he?
Exactly, no. But apparently that secure area at his home was not that secure if he was able to get all of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
No, not good. Well, President Obama said on Tuesday the nation should do, quote, some soul-searching, end of quote, over the epidemic of deadly gun violence and should be ashamed it has been unable to address it. During a question and answer session on Tumblr, Mr. Obama says, we're the only developed country on earth where this happens. And Stu, I had actually put a map on my Facebook page. I think you shared it on your Seabreeze fan page about all of the shootings, school shootings that happened in America since Sandy Hook. And when you look at that map, it's absolutely amazing. And it's not confined to just one part of the United States, not the East Coast, the Midwest, or the West Coast. But if you look at that map, it's all over the place, these shootings. It's everywhere.
That was horrific, wasn't it? I couldn't believe when I saw that map. Did you get a count of how many there was?
Well, no, I mean, honestly, because I didn't have the time, and my goodness, it would literally be that many that I would have to sit there and count. I mean, you saw that map, so I would encourage anyone that if you have not seen that map, Stu has it on his Seabreeze fan page, so I think you should actually go on there and check that map out, because it really puts things into perspective where you can visually see it.
Yeah, I was just blown away, because it's not just half a dozen. God, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of them.
Absolutely. And like I said, what was also amazing is that it's just not confined to, the Midwest or the South or the East Coast. I mean, this is something that is occurring all over the United States of America, from the West Coast to the Midwest to the Northeast to the Southeast, everywhere. There seems to be no community that is not dealing with this right now. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, there's no community gone unscathed, is there? You must be starting to run out of citizens.
No, I think we're still okay when it comes to citizens. But I know something, Stu, that you guys in New Zealand have been dealing with, and that's in Auckland, that people are still sort of searching for answers as to why a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old boy stabbed and killed a shop owner who was said to be a very nice and a humbled man. I saw pictures of him on the news there in New Zealand, and he certainly looked like he was just your average hard-working guy trying to provide for his family. The 13-year-old, by the way, has been charged with murder. His wife witnessed the attack, and police believe the boys were trying to rob the store when it happened. They are also investigating if those same teens are involved in other robberies and fights in the area. And you and I talked about this story a little bit off camera. And I know that has been shocking to you. So I know, everyone in New Zealand has been talking about that because that's such a sad story. And then what makes it even worse, these are 12 and 13-year-old kids that did this.
Yep, dead right. Kids that should be damn well home. This is the trouble, you see. They take away discipline, and it just goes to the pack. And I'm sure there's not one citizen throughout the country, throughout the world, wouldn't agree. Discipline, no discipline, and it's just getting worse, and it's just going mad, absolutely out of hand. And they won't control it. They'll never control it. It's stupid. Too much PC, just ridiculous. And, a 13-year-old, well, the 13-year-old had been charged with the murder. They had a shopkeeper on TV the other night out of the same area, and he said the kids just come in and they take what they want. He said, what can I do? What can I do apart from wear a knife? Get in my back or something like that. If I go out there to defend my property, I'm going to get knifed. These kids just walk in and take what they want. You know?
That's amazing.
Stupid.
Yeah,
absolutely stupid. You know.
Yeah, that is amazing. I think something that is alarming to me is that the case there in New Zealand, and also cases that we cover and follow here in America, that the kids get younger and younger.
Yep.
You know, I would have never thought of in my wildest dreams a 12 and a 13-year-old would be involved in a stabbing. I mean, let alone a stabbing that actually killed someone. So, yeah, this seems to be something that we're not only seeing here in America, but that we're literally seeing around the world.
Yep.
These young kids that are just completely out of control.
Well, you know, 18 years ago when I was working at 91.4 in Palmerston North, and we looked down from the building where we had the radio station, we looked down into the square of the Palmerston North, which was a beautiful square, trees and everything else. They had to take some of the trees out because it was too much cover for these young hoods in this big square in the middle of the city, where there was lakes and everything else for the ducks and walks and everything else. Beautiful by day. At night you wouldn't walk through there. It was bad. The cops used to drive around with spotlighting through the square all the time to see where these hoods were, and they were just kids. They were damn kids. 4 o'clock in the morning, because I was doing graveyard shift, 4 o'clock in the morning, kids that should have been home in bed were roaming the streets. Mad.
Unbelievable.
Their parents, where were they? In the pubs, drinking, boozing up, smoking up, doing whatever, you know.
And I think, well, I know here in America, whenever these sort of shootings and stabbings happen, you always have psychologists and child advocates, you know, on the news, sort of these mouthpieces, and, you know, they always say the same thing. Well, the kids aren't getting that much attention, and the parents, instead of being parents, are trying to be the kid's best friend. And, so it appears parents aren't being parents these days, and they are trying to be their kids' friends. So until parents decide that they want to be parents and police their kids, I guess we're going to have to constantly deal with this sort of thing. But we'll move on to some other stories. In New York City, a club manager and 4 women, or so-called professional strippers, are behind bars after drugging and stealing thousands of dollars from men. The women would spike drinks and run up credit cards at topless clubs in New York and in New Jersey. Some of the men say they have little or no memory of any of it, but investigators filled in the blanks for them on Wednesday after making the arrest, charging them with grand larceny, assault, and forgery. The 5 were accused of teaming up to rip off a combined $200,000 from a New Jersey doctor, a banker, a hedge fund executive, and a real estate attorney in a credit card scam during the last 4 months. So I guess, you know, these strippers, you know, basically spiked their drinks, took their credit cards, and went to town on it.
God, I tell you what, those strippers, I tell you what, they talk about businessmen. These girls, they were businesswomen, weren't they? They knew what it was all about. They're not stupid.
Well, you know, I guess, and you know, I guess if you think about it, it would be very difficult for the husband to go home and say, oh, honey, yeah, by the way, I was out at the topless place and I got completely smashed, and the stripper took the credit card and ran up $200,000, you know. So it's not like you can really even go home and tell the wife that, because you'll get in trouble from the wife.
Oh, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, well, I guess the moral of this story is stay out of the strip club, guys, and if you do, don't let someone get your drink. You know, get your own drink so it won't be spiked and your credit card will be run up.
Yeah, don't take your credit cards. The best one.
Well, yeah, you could do that too. Leave the credit cards at home. But listen, when we come back, why a boy's lunch was thrown in the trash at school and George Bush celebrates a birthday. Those stories and more when we come back, Stu.
Here's Josie Kreitz and a 4-wheel drive on Seabreeze.